Welcome to the Sugar Skulls Podcast, Episode 5. Today's special guest, Erin Accomando. Let's find middle C. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, Erin?
Sure. So my name is Erin Accomando. I'm a musician, have been since 2009, I think. I am predominantly a music streamer on Twitch now, but I do all sorts of things. I do vocal coaching. I do tarot reading. Trying to dabble a little bit in everything nowadays. But yeah, that's generally my shtick right now is I'm a Twitch streamer, mostly music. I switch it up every once in a while. We do some cooking streams, do some game streams, stuff like that. But overall, that is my bag. I'm into horror, I'm into cats, into tarot, into movies in general. And I'll say this, I love podcasting and being a part of interviews. So
Cool.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see, just so you kind of know my background, I'm a desktop engineer, podcaster. I try to do the Twitch, but not as good as you. Been playing music since I was like 15 years old or something like that. That was the first guitar that I ever had. My mother was very, you guys are going to be rock stars. And I was like, man, I really wish you would have picked a better profession where I could make some money or something. But it was really influential on us being musicians, or at least having some sort of music. And then I was a factory worker for a long time. Didn't really do much as far as that goes. Then one fateful day, I was like, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to go ahead and go into the military. So I went in the military for 8 years and got out, got a few jobs with the military, DOD, Department of Homeland Security, a few of the companies out there that everybody hates, like Lockheed Martin, Rolls-Royce. A little bit of Blackwater, a little bit of Raytheon, those companies that get all the good stuff, all the good money, all the good junk. And then, I moved into desktop engineering, and now I'm trying to circle back into music. So, and podcasting, right? Big giant circle. You finally get to retire and then go back to what your passion is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we threw out a couple of subjects for discussion. Any of those that you would like to hit on first?
Honestly, I think that music production is super timely, especially as we record this podcast.
Yeah, as we struggle to record this podcast, yes.
Well, listen, we're podcasting not across the country, but we're not
pretty good distance. Yeah,
either.
Pretty good distance. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty solid distance there. It's complicated, and I'm getting more and more into music production, and I love that you are as well. And I'm just having like a hoot. I've been doing more collabs with music production, like actually producing things and having a bigger hand in producing them, and it brings me a lot of joy, honestly. But so much goes into it that. Like, I know how much goes into it because I've been watching music being produced for, 15 years, sitting in a studio, and doing it yourself is just a whole nother bag of tricks.
There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to do it by yourself. That's
true.
That's helpful.
I have Pro Tools open all the time with just the other screen in my room is just all the shortcuts. Yeah.
I got an iPad and I've got a Samsung tablet that gives me all the Reaper shortcuts. That's I've been using Reaper and I've been using Cakewalk. And then of course I've been using the Suno for doing some AI stuff, and the new one, which is RipX. That's another AI like DAW that will take the sound and split it up into different stems, and it's great. It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
It is. It's especially like you said, like now is kind of like, I think we're at a turning point. I really do. I think there's back in the day it was, let me get this. I got a cassette, right? I'm going to play the cassette in the car. And then it was a CD. I got a CD I could throw in the car. And then it was like, I even went to, let's see, I've got this. Listeners can't see it, but right here, this is a Sony mini disc.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I was like, this platform is going to take off for sure. This is going to be the one. No. Sony has always missed the mark. Just like they've innovated something and it's like, wow, that's really cool. But then nobody else picks it up. So
Yeah.
let's stay proprietary so that only our stuff works on our stuff and we'll die out quick.
It's like when HD and Blu-ray were having a fight. Like there were HD discs versus Blu-ray, and Blu-ray just like won.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even know what the difference is.
And, you know, like I said, I'm going to go to the old folks home for Easter, and my grandfather's still talking about Betamax versus VHS. Mm-hmm. That's like his main thing. You know, like, you don't even have a VHS player anymore, dude.
And the only reason I have a VCR is because I was tasked to
move the VCR to the digital. Yeah.
Yes, which I've not done, but I did part of them. But it is time consuming because you have to actually sit there and watch the stuff. Like it's not just like a quick little, oop, okay, it's done. No, you have to sit here and let it play and actually like watch what you're doing, or else it's just mostly like infomercials that somebody recorded in the middle of the night.
Which is funny because like I'm also tasked with that for my dad's commercials. He's in he's got the you know, ZZ Top biker beard, and he rides a Harley and all that kind of stuff. And he's in like a few commercials, and he's in a few music videos because he's out in California and that's what he does. But he's tasked me with that, and like one of them, I've got to like it's just in so bad shape that I've got to take it somewhere professional to get it done, because it's gonna just eat it up if I put it in a regular VHS.
Luckily, ours aren't that old. There's not a ton. Like my family started really going in on home videos like maybe 2 years before I was born.
Yeah.
Like they got their hands on a camcorder in like 87, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you don't like it.
No. What's funny is like I think my grandfather got the first shot to the groin with me and my cousin wrestling on his video player. Like he had like, I mean, it's like security cam footage almost. Because he was he's an electronic genius. The guy really is. He's just way ahead of his time. Didn't graduate high school or anything like that, but electronics all the way through the Navy, all the way through his career. Zenith repairman, created. I think he created his first television from a oscilloscope, so it was just green and white.
A homemade television?
A homemade television, yes, through a oscilloscope,
that's
yes.
insanity.
Yeah, my mom was like, "Why is everybody green all the time?"
That's fantastic.
But he also, like I said, the Betamax VHS war thing. He's a big thing on that. But he built his own video camera. And I think I literally got the first, funniest home video crotch shot pretty much. My cousin just swung his arm back like this or something like that, and I got it. No. But it's on video, right? It's on video forever and ever.
Yep.
Anyways.
I love it. But I do love that, like, we've come full circle, and now anybody, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I think you said that earlier. Like, it's a blessing and a curse that, like, everybody can do anything now.
Yeah.
Oh, we all have cameras. We all have we don't all have computers, but a lot
of
us have computers.
I've got 3 tablets, a phone, 2 phones. It's crazy. It's crazy amount. Well, of course, my friends come into my house and they're like, dude, I think there needs to be an intervention. We need to stop you from purchasing electronics or equipment. I'm like,
yeah.
You just gotta wait 2 more. Give me 2 more guitars, and we can do that.
You said 2 guitars ago.
2 guitars ago. No, I want to get, so I do have, of my guitars, I want to get a Zakk Wylde guitar. And what was the other one? I might be looking at one of those Fender Acousticonics, I think is what it's
I
called.
think I know what you're talking about.
It's like an acoustic, but it's like,
Yeah.
like this thin, about, I've seen a few people that have them. They really like them. So those will be my last 2. And of course, over $1,000 price point on those. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The only thing that I'm paying for now is like Pro Tools. Like I'm just paying for it straight up because like it makes the most sense, honestly, for me because our whole EBX camp, which I didn't even say in my intro, I'm in a band.
Yeah.
That is
I was gonna say.
called LC Banks, EBX for short. And we're all engineers. We're all producers. We all make music in our own ways. And so we all know how to use Pro Tools, and the whole camp uses Pro Tools. So I'm like, you know what? I think it's $40 a month or something, maybe $30 or $40 a month or something. So that's like the only thing that I'm paying for that I never really thought in terms of gear, like something I'd be paying for. Like if you told me that 8 years ago, I'm going to be sitting at home creating a song about frogs for somebody not even across the country, across the world.
Right.
All using MIDI and mixed entirely in Pro Tools, I would be like, you're shitting yourself. I don't know what you're talking about. All of that was foreign language. I didn't even know what MIDI was.
Yeah. Which I'll bring the subject up again that upsets you usually.
Oh, no.
And that is finding the middle of the middle C on that. I did see something the other day though, and reasoning why that is. Because I started looking at keyboard drumming.
Yeah.
And it's because the bass drum is on that C1 or C1, I think is what it is. It's either C1 or C2. And that's why they mapped it that way, so that they would kind of match up. And of course, there's other mappings out there that don't match up, but that's pretty much it. They all came to a conclusion on the format and said, this is what we're going to do. So,
And
yeah.
It's so funny. I think that we have to like tell the story because it's a whole thing. And I talked about it on one of my streams during on Twitch. And it's all because Shane and I were working on some vocal stuff. And he goes, oh, I sang from C whatever.
It was C3 or C4 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember which direction it went. But I am in my house, in Michigan. And Shane's like, well, this is from C2 to C3, I think, whatever. And I was like, no, it's not.
It's not.
like C3 to C4, for the sake of this example. And he's like, no, it's labeled. It's right here. It says C2.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's not. It's simply
right,
not
it's
C2.
right there.
I know what. Yeah, I know what C2 and C3 and C4. And like, as somebody who was brought up with classical music, you learn early on in your life when you start this that C4 is middle C. Always. It's always, that's just what C4 is. And then at some point, some engineer somewhere decided, like what Shane was saying about, it makes sense because this C1 is the drum, the kick drum or whatever. Yeah. But they didn't realize that this goes back much further than just programming. It's not just willy-nilly C whatever, middle C is C4. Now, in some of these DAWs, when you open up a MIDI controller, C4 is not middle C. And that's what Shane and I discovered.
Yeah. And then we're both trying to figure out, okay, well, what is it then? Is it this? And then I think I did dig deep into it, and there's like a frequency. Someone said,
yes,
you're going for a frequency. And I'm like, okay, but in no tuner anywhere that I have says
right.
it's this frequency is the middle C or the range that you're going to be.
Yeah, but that's not like layman's terms.
Like, no. It's got to have
And so it's so strange that they would randomly, as engineers or developers, but maybe both, just decided that the number didn't matter. Like, when like they didn't consult any musician
No,
who knows
probably
anything
not.
about music theory, because they would have said absolutely not. C4 is always middle C. It's always the same tone and the same octave. So now Shane and I, anytime we're talking about the octave, it's like, okay,
Which one is it? Which one is it? Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. And then I do use the tuners now. There's two tuners that I use. One is from Waves and one is from the Reaper. Right? It's a real tuner, and they both line up so that and that one says C2. So I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I don't know. And
I just need to sing in key. That's all I need to know how to do.
You're right, exactly. Just you need to stay in key and know what you're
Right.
talking about. They're making it hard.
Back to music production. One question I did want to ask: have you checked out any of the AI stuff at all?
No, not really. The only actual AI that I've messed with is the mastering.
Okay.
In that way, because the guy that we use, Tom Volpicelli, his rates are quite high. So some of the projects I have, even though
You mean the Frogs project? You do want to
I
pay
did not,
top dollar for that
no,
one?
I did not pay to get Frogs mastered. No,
Okay.
just a silly little song. And so, yeah, I have messed with that. I think it was like $20 or something, and you can get 3 songs done a month for $20. It's not like the best mastering in the world, but it's something.
This one does have this Soundtrap does have mastering, so I'm gonna check that out. And BandLab also has mastering, but BandLab's mastering you gain points, and then you can get some things mastered. But I did try the BandLab out, and it was not like I'm not professional in any way, shape, or form, but my ear on that one, it was like, ooh, that was not good.
Yeah, I was using eMaster, and I'm like definitely not like yay pro this. Hire a professional if you can't afford to hire a professional.
Right.
But I really liked it because it would give you 3 options, and then you can go in and choose one and then edit it. Like you can
you get like 3 different options of it, and then you can go, yeah, that's the one. That one's better than the rest, anyways.
Yeah, and then you can edit the frequencies, and it actually had quite a lot of editability. And I was surprised at that, but for the value of $20, it wasn't too bad versus a professional's, our guy is $80 and not going to pay that for every single project. It's just not necessary. I wish I could, I want to support
Well, and I think it's gone to
always.
even in the like office world, right? Like there's the capability to do data analysis even with it. You know what I mean? Like, so like where you would have that DBA that would build that whole database and everything. Now you can just drop it into an AI and it'll spit out the graphs and the analytical data and all that kind of stuff for you. So if you are in a company and you need to do your books, right? You can drop that into an AI and it'll say, hey, this is how much you're doing towards this. This is your profit margin. This is your ROI. This is all that kind of stuff. So it's getting there. It's getting there to almost replace people's jobs, but we'll see.
Right. Hopefully not too many. As if we're not in a recession already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I do think, there were some people that were saying that the bigger companies, they'll definitely be looking at AI to write like, your little jingles or whatever it is, which I don't know. It still needs even the AI that I've done. It still needs that human, and it still needs like a major human touch to it. You know what I mean? Because it's still
it needs a lot of influence to get it to a usable
Well, it's
point.
still, I don't even know if I could do it, but it's still very robotic sounding. It's very, guitar's never been, even with MIDI, guitar's never been great, right? That's why they always record guitar and always record vocals, because you're not going to be able to reproduce it that well. Anyways. Okay. Are we ready to take this train over to your true passion, which is horror movies.
I'm always on the horror train.
Yeah. Okay. All
To
right.
be honest.
Okay.
I'm always on the horror train.
All right. So let's see. We got at current time, we have Romulus opening or coming through soon.
I'm a fan of Alien.
Yeah, that's an Alien. That's Alien. I don't know, quadrilogy, GG, whatever it is gonna be. I don't know what that's gonna.
I don't know either at this point. Like I could count them because I think Prometheus was like.
Well, there was.
Count, and you have to count Alien versus Predator too.
You think that's is that part? I mean, I realize it is part of the universe, but it's not.
I know.
It's like a multiverse or something almost like.
I've never even considered, is that a part of the franchise?
Yeah.
Because I've never thought about it before. I mean, I feel like I consider Freddy versus Jason a part of both franchises. So if like Alien versus Predator, I feel like it belongs in both.
Well, even with the Freddy versus Jason, though, right? In the Jason thing, right? There's Jason X where he ends up in the future.
I love Jason X. I love it so much.
You know what I mean, though? Like, where does that, like, okay, so he, in present day, fights Freddy and goes to hell, and then at some point is resurrected in the future on a spaceship.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not actually even sure which one came first, to be honest.
X came first before Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so do we count this as a retcon, or do we count this as, all right, at some point in the future, right, we got to worry about Jason again, right? That's.
I feel like we always have to worry about Jason. We always have to worry about Freddy. We always have to worry about Chucky.
True.
Michael might be dead now.
Yeah, at least, yeah, he's supposed to be you know what I mean? Like, that one is supposed to be but is it a curse? You know what I mean? Does it go to the next generation of males in Jamie Lee Curtis's family? Who knows, right?
No, you're right. That didn't occur to me. I never even watched the final Halloween movie because I heard it was bad.
I would say from H2O on has been horrible. Well, I won't say that. The Rob Zombie one was kind of good.
I liked the Rob Zombie ones actually.
Yeah.
But I enjoy his filmmaking in general, so.
It's because I think he tries to stay fan based, right? Like, he tries to stay as close to the original material as possible without going like way off, right? Like I said, Jason X, that's like, where do we even go? You know what I mean? Where
did we go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it though. That was one of the first Jasons I ever saw, actually. And I think that's why I like it.
That's why you like it. Yeah.
It's because it's campy. It's stupid. It's very like Y2K, that era of like where horror comedies were going. It wasn't a horror comedy, but it like was this.
It's campy though.
Seamy,
it is campy.
Close.
Yeah, it is campy. It's
and
yeah.
I think that's why I love it so much, because it's like this is not that good of a movie, but it's so campy, and I love it so much. But yeah, I don't know, Alien. I'm looking forward to Romulus. I really just liked everything. I loved Prometheus. Loved Covenant. I've loved everything. You know, Alien Resurrection might be my favorite. But this is something I never realized before. Alien Resurrection and Halloween Resurrection are probably my two favorites in the franchises.
So now, Alien Resurrection, was that after Prometheus?
No, that was the fourth film.
So what was the one after Prometheus, where they found out that the android had kind of gone to the dark side of things, right? Like,
that was Alien Covenant.
That was Covenant. Okay.
Yes.
See, like I said, they're all getting kind of. Yeah. I feel like they're different chapters of different books and different writers almost anymore. So.
I mean, they kind of are.
Yeah.
They kind of are literally that. They all just exist in the same universe. Like, I think, you know what I mean? Like, Ripley was in the original 4, and that was kind of her story. Kind of even, because even in the 4th one, it's not really Ripley anymore. So
right.
And then everything after that just was kind of like same universe, not the same book. So I don't know. I loved Prometheus and I loved Covenant, so I'm hugely looking forward to Romulus. I'm looking forward hugely to The Crow. I know it's not a popular opinion.
That one's a touchy one for me. I'm like,
Yeah, you and
don't
about a trillion other people.
don't be touching Brandon. You know what I mean? Like,
Listen, I agree, but I'm a huge fan of the reboot.
yeah,
I love reboots, and I don't know. There's something to say about.
but see,
like,
you didn't have to live
reboot.
through. You didn't have to live through the okay, The Crow, boom, right?
And
Then
I love The Crow.
then there's like City of Angels, and then there's like
I love.
something else, and then there was like the kid from Terminator was The Crow in one of them, and it's like, what? Where do we? You know what I mean? Like it's like
I didn't mind the sequels actually. I really like City of Angels.
okay,
Because it follows Sarah's story.
yeah, kind of, but it's still like almost. Even though her name was Sarah, it didn't feel like her though.
That's fair. That's fair. I agree. The casting, while I love both actresses who play Sarah, I agree that casting was
Did not feel like the same. You know what I mean? Like someone who had been through all this previously is now going through this with her own relationship. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
I do agree with that. It never occurred to me, but yeah, I don't. I like the casting on its own, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like the authentic adult version of that Sarah.
yeah. I think that was
never
what
thought
really kind of killed it for me. And then it was, I'm trying to think who the guy was.
I don't remember.
Was it, I'll have to look that up later.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But yeah.
I am looking forward to the reboot because I'm just a huge fan of reboots, and anything that will put it on the map for like Gen Z, I'm happy about. So if The Crow comes out and you go and watch the original because you liked this one, I can't be mad. Kind of like with Mean Girls, and I don't know, Fright Night was one that, you know, that one came out 15 years ago, the reboot of it, but you know, that made me go back and watch the original. And
Right.
I love reboots.
Which I did like
And-
the Colin Farrell
Yeah.
vampire better than the previous one. I felt like,
Yeah, that was a solid reboot.
yeah, that was a solid rebuild. Now, I don't know if you've seen Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
I have not.
You have not. Okay. So in the Matt Reeves Batman, which is the Twilight guy, anyways,
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, yes. Which I'm not.
I have seen it.
You've seen that?
I did.
Okay.
I just don't remember.
Yeah, he's Colin Farrell's in full like prosthetic makeup, fat suit makeup, and he's the Penguin. He's going to have his own series come out on HBO Max, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be the next, and he's got a full Brooklyn accent.
I had no idea. I watched The Batman when
Yeah.
it came out, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's the Penguin. He's the guy that was driving the car, getting away from Batman and the big explosions on the road. And yeah, a lot of people are like, what?
Right. Yeah, I'm a fan of Colin Farrell. He makes some strange choices,
Yeah.
and I love it for him.
Yeah. Well, there's a few roles that he did, like that I would say, yeah, no. One of those being, there was a Daredevil. I'm the comic guy, so there was a Daredevil movie with
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer
Garner.
Yep, and Colin Farrell was a character called Bullseye.
Oh, okay.
And just took it over the top, took it too far, I thought, but I was like, okay. But then the whole thing was just, you know, I didn't like the whole thing. Like the new Netflix or Disney, I guess.
One of the worst movies ever or something.
Yeah, it's pretty much it's like one of the worst. Well, I won't say one of the worst superhero movies ever. I would say, I believe Batman and Robin is the worst superhero movie ever. And that is Clooney and Uma Thurman's in it. Arnold's Dr. Freeze. You know, it's just not. That is like when they put nipples on the batsuit, I was done. I was like, no.
And see, I know all those because I grew up with them. Like I don't Like for me, all the Batmen
Yeah.
are the same. Not the same, but for me, it's all nostalgia
Yeah.
because I don't know which one I saw first.
So the Keaton one, that was like everybody was like, oh no, Michael Keaton. Now what? The Mr. Mom? What?
He was
Beetle-
so good.
And then when he did Beetlejuice, everybody was like, who did Beetlejuice? And you're like, Michael Keaton, the guy that did Mr. Mom and Batman. And they're like, what? How do you go from these two roles to this role?
He is a national treasure.
But he is, yeah. That's the one where when I was a kid, like that was the first. Like it went from Adam West to Michael Keaton. It was just like, whoa, this is what it's supposed to be. This is what it's not supposed to be. This guy in a purple Batman suit. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, I wish I could pinpoint which one I saw first. I remember we had the VHS of the first Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton's first one, and I probably wrecked it. It probably was in shambles before they eventually probably threw it away.
Right.
And I was a huge fan of Jack Nicholson.
Yes,
Just
that was
one of the biggest fans of Jack Nicholson.
Heath Ledger's Joker was my favorite Joker though.
Yeah, he was wonderful. He really was
yeah.
wonderful.
Because before it was Romero. I'm trying to think of his first name. Anyways, the guy had so that when they put the Joker makeup on him, this is the Adam West Batman show. They white faced him, but he would not shave his mustache.
Oh,
So they
right.
they put lipstick and white cake makeup on with I was always like,
Ew.
all right.
Why would you just not put makeup in it? He would
Just
have a mustache. And
shave it.
fine.
I mean, just shave it. But
Or
anyways,
just shave it.
yeah,
But speaking of Michael Keaton, that was a great segue we didn't even know we needed.
yeah.
Because Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Yep, that's where I was going next. Is like Beetlejuice is that one's going to be one that is definitely going to be. I think the cast, you can't go wrong with that cast. There's if you and it's Tim Burton doing it again. So it's
and
going to be
rebuilt the sets and the same thing
Yeah.
with location. They did have some trouble in production. They had a lot of people stealing stuff off the sets because they were shooting for so long. So while they were building, they would, I follow so many crazy fan accounts like clearly. And so there were people stealing things from like the storefronts that were like pumpkins outside or like scarecrows, whatever.
right.
And yeah, people were stealing from the sets and they had to like start putting security up because, and I can't say that I blame them.
I was going to say I was just giggling because I'd be like, ain't nobody looking around. I'm going to grab this pumpkin right here. I'm going to grab this sandworm statue.
You just turned it into Beetlejuice.
Well, you say it enough, and I guess it happens.
But that might be the only other reason I returned to a movie theater this year. Because I'm so excited for Beetlejuice. I'm a super fan of Beetlejuice, honestly.
Yeah.
I almost returned to theaters for Hocus Pocus 2, but then that was easy because they were like, oh, it's going to be on Disney. Like it's on Disney. Like don't, you know what I mean? Like
That's not well, and it's not like
somewhere.
I don't know. I don't think that one's a big
No,
production
really
one.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, my brother's trying to get me to go see Dune. Speaking of sandworms, my brother's trying to get me to go see Dune. He said, go to the IMAX and see Dune. It's awesome. So I might do that.
I haven't seen the first one or the original one,
Okay.
but
It's
been told
good.
that I would like it.
It is really good. It is really good. It is so there's I think there's 4 versions of it. The original one, which was way back in the 80s, I think. That one had what's his name from Twin Peaks?
Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle
That's the
MacLachlan,
Jason Bourne one.
and it had Sting as I'm trying to think of the guy that fought him. Anyways, so Sting's in it. There's a whole bunch of really great actors in it. Really
Yeah.
cool production.
I've heard it's really not good, but that it's worth watching at least.
I mean, for like, I'll say like the special effects now as opposed to the special effects then, what we were capable of. Yeah, you can tell this is like a green screen thing, but but the story's still there. You know what I mean? Like the acting is still there. So, and then there's like 2 others I think that came in there. And then the new one with, I mean, it's got Jason Momoa in it. It's got,
It's a stacked cast.
it is a stacked cast. And, the first one I did like, I was like, okay, now we're going to wait 10 years for the next one. Is that how that works? You know, do we have to wait for this kid to grow up to be, what's going on? So that's one I'm probably going to hit the theaters for. That would be one I was going to hit the theaters for.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is one of them. Couple others that I'm looking forward to hugely is I don't know if you've heard of it. It's more of it's been around in the festivals. It's called Late Night with the Devil, and it is set in the 70s, and it is like a ghost hunting broadcast gone wrong.
Okay.
And that is, like, you know me pretty well. That is so far up my alley.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing it's getting the best reviews.
Really?
And it's only playing in art house theaters right now, and I'm like, damn, I feel like maybe maybe I should go see it in a theater, maybe.
Right.
Because I have a friend who owns a theater about an hour away.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, you go out there, you have dinner, you find something else to do because you're not just going to go drive an hour.
Drive an hour to go.
Just to go to a
30 minute for an hour or more.
Right. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should go see it because everybody's telling me that it's amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get a wide release until I think the end of April or something.
Okay.
So I'm interested.
The only ones that I've seen so far are these, like, there's like 3 of them. All 3 of them have to deal with spiders.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like overrun of spiders. Sting is one of them. Then I think there's another one that's like a French or it's like a French made film or it's either French or Russian. I can't quite figure out which one it is because it doesn't really have a lot of dialogue going on. But yeah, they're both there's like 3 of them that are all based on spiders. Spider infant, I think it's called infestation, and the other one is Sting, and then I can't remember what the other one is, but I'm like, it doesn't.
I actually like that movie, Arachnophobia.
You did?
It must have been maybe like mid 90s, if I had to guess. That was probably mid 90s
Yeah.
or so. I actually like that movie. It was on TV a lot, I think, when I was little. And
with John Goodman.
Is John Goodman in it? I don't remember if John Goodman's in it.
I think he's the exterminator.
I think Jeff Daniels is in it.
Or is it Jeff Daniels, maybe? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Jeff Daniels, I think, is the main guy.
Yeah.
John Goodman is the exterminator who comes to save him, I think.
Yeah. That's right. It's been oh, wow, it was 1990. I had to Google it. I don't know.
That's fine.
1990. I probably saw it mid-90s, though.
Yeah.
Because that checks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, I don't know. I don't have an aversion to spiders. I'm the spider killer in this house.
Oh, okay.
So
You're the one that gets that role of. Now, do you kill them or do you do the spider trap with the glass?
I kill them.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I've ever trapped something to take it outside. In my
Well, the trap, it does make, like, if you do the trap, make sure that you're being videoed while you're doing it, because if you mess up, then you've got $1 million video to put out there for but yeah, the trap I usually do is I get a fairly big glass, put it over the spider, then shove a piece of paper underneath it, and take it outside.
You're far nicer than I am.
Well, like, there's certain things like spiders and possums. Like, everybody misunderstands them. You know what I mean? Like, they just they have a very good use.
They do.
Now, if you're a brown recluse, sorry, today is your day. But or a black widow or a brown recluse, those I'm getting rid of those. But
yeah, And that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't kill spiders in our house unless Trish sees them. Because I agree. I think well, Trish is here for a reason too, but spiders are here for a reason. And I don't like killing them unless she sees it, and then I have to kill it.
Then it has to die, or the house has to burn to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm also apparently, I didn't know this until a couple weeks ago, I am the spider killer at the studio as well.
Oh.
Not one of those guys will touch the spider. I'm like, are you fuckers serious? Like, come on. Nobody
Nobody,
would
huh?
touch it. Nobody. So I guess I'm the spider killer there too.
Now I do like the cute little spiders that the little like hyper dudes that are multicolored spiders. Have you seen
I know
those
what you're
pets?
talking about. They jump around.
Yeah. They're pretty cute. But anyways,
I agree with that. They're pretty cute.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So we kind of went from
I know.
from music production to horror movies. So we'll go from horror movies since we kind of did touch on the paranormal a little bit. We'll jump into there. Are you? I know that you do or have done some, and you do have some equipment, as I've seen. Mm-hmm. How have you gone any like places that's like there's I believe there's a hospital in St. Louis that's like highly haunted.
I've not been there. I've been to one haunted location. This was before I actually had any gear, but I did go to Eloise. It is an asylum here that is, I think 4 levels, and it was actually certain levels of the asylum became admin spaces through like the 2000s. But then there are other parts of the basement, like and the top floors that have been very, very, very just left,
Active,
just totally
kinda.
left. And you go up there and you can tell like the last people that were in there were maybe late 80s, early 90s. And it was creepy. We did a ghost tour, and it was really interesting. We got some interesting stuff in like some words coming through one of the ghost boxes. But it was like a tour guide. So like you could bring your own tools if you had them, but at the time I did not. This was probably 2018 or 19. I started collecting ghost gear during the pandemic. So now I have
Now you're
a
ready.
spirit box. I have REM pods. I have like an actual like thermometer gun. I have a thermal cam. What else? I'm borrowing an old Ovilus, but it doesn't work terribly well. So like I have quite a few things, and I did get to ghost hunt in my friend Beta's basement.
Yeah.
And they live in New York,
Okay.
about an hour outside of the city, in an old historic house that is over 150 years old.
Wow.
And I ghost hunted in her basement with a friend, and it was creepy. It was really creepy. And we live streamed it to Twitch. It was really creepy. I got the chills a lot, and no, not just because you're in a basement. We think answers kind of come through on the obelisk, and it was creepy. I was asking, "Are you young?" Because there was an old bassinet down there that Beta was like, "Don't touch it, don't touch it, just don't touch it. It was here when I got here. Don't touch it." So what did I do? I touched it, and I put a REM pod inside the basket, inside the crib.
Asking for it. Just asking for it.
I was asking for it, yeah. It never went off, but I was asking a lot of like, are you young? Are you old? Like trying to keep it really simple so that way I could get answers. And it did actually respond once that it's old, that there's old came through. Specifically when I asked, are you young? And it said old. And it was really creepy. I actually didn't even catch it until we were watching the footage back. And the Ovilus said Mercury once, but it was like random. We're like, oh, I don't know what that means, but that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has like the creepiest old basement of all time because it's just an old house. Again, it's like 150 years old. But yeah, I definitely, I did one other session was it on Halloween? Maybe it was like the day after Halloween last year. I sat outside of my condo because I live in a very old complex. We live in a place was built 85 years ago. And I had a neighbor pass away a couple years right next door to me. I had another neighbor pass away a couple years ago right across the thing. And I got to thinking, like, maybe I should walk around and maybe do like ghost hunts, even just in the area once it's nice outside, you know? Like you could just take a walk and listen to the spirit box and see if anything's coming through because this place is so old. And I can imagine, you know, a lot of people have passed away here. And it also used to kind of be known as a senior citizen type of place, but it's really not anymore. There's a lot of young people here now. But I think for a long time it was like if you were here, you kind of you just grew old here. You stay here kind of thing. So I know a lot of people have passed away here. So me and Trish did a spirit box session outside, and we think we were talking not to somebody that we knew who passed away, but we definitely think we were talking to somebody because we were getting answers. And they were like flirting with Trish. It was really creepy. And the number 7 kept coming up. So I sat like on my computer Googling, like, did 7 people die here? Was this like, you know what I mean? Like, and I found some interesting stuff. I would have to go through and look at the stuff I saved about it. But yeah, we were getting real answers to questions, and it was kind of creepy. And we kept asking, like, do you need help? And then nothing would come through. So I think it was really playful, but I think they were just fucking with us. And I genuinely want to do more actual ghost hunts because the studio that we work out of, the studio that Elsie Binks works out of, has some really bad vibes. And a lot of people, and I wish that I could say I'm a medium. I really am not. I can't see shit.
Yeah.
I don't hear things. I honestly wish that I had that third eye type of gift, but I don't.
Any like besides the ghost hunting, any like premonition type? You know, I know you do the trail, but like I don't do trail, but I've had like a few points in my life where I'm like, that was weird. Where did I come up with that? I don't know where I came up with that. And they usually show up in my fits of rage. So I don't know if that's what triggers it, which, you know, I'm a very calm person. There's only been a few things that have set me into that. One of those being I had a long relationship that ended and I'd found out, well, she had just said, look, I just want to be alone. I don't want to be with anybody, blah, 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 this and that. So then I had found out that she was dating somebody, and I was like, so I was kind of asking, right? I was like, well, what's he drive, blah, blah, blah. And somebody said, well, he drives a red Jeep and all that kind of stuff. So I went to her house one morning, just had that feeling, right? And she's like, you can't come in. I got somebody here. And I was like mad, extremely mad. So I walked out. And as I'm walking through, it's like the parking lot is here and the entrance to the apartment is here. As I'm walking out, I'm walking by this red piece of crap car. And I'm like, I look up at her and I point at the car and I don't even know why I did it. But
it just happened.
It just happened. And yes, that was his car. And I had no idea how that happened. I was like, I had no idea whatsoever how that happened.
That's creepy.
It was, it freaked me out. Like I was like, I don't know if some kind of primal something kicked in.
Yeah, your gut instinct was like, I know
this is it, right? That, you know, even though I'm like looking through the parking lot, I'm not seeing this Jeep that people are talking about. All I see is,
and then you're like, right,
this is it, right?
Crazy. I will say, I'm big into tarot. I have been doing tarot now for just over 3 years, and I just did my first event ever. I was hired to do tarot at basically like this university's prom. It's basically a prom for university kids.
I was gonna ask you how that went, and like
it was fantastic.
Did you have lots of people come up to do it, or was it
so many people? I did almost 60 readings.
Wow.
In 5 hours. Like
Wow.
my brain, the day after, I was just like, nobody.
Drain of psychic energy for sure.
Yeah, dude. And because like I said, I don't feel like I'm psychic, but I do feel like, and it's kind of like you just said, like sometimes I look at a card and I know what the meaning of the card is, but something else comes out of my mouth.
Right.
And I don't know why. And my tarot teacher says, like, you're going to feel like you're making shit up sometimes. And she's like, you are, but it's because it's what is meant to come out of your mouth at that time.
Right.
And the amount of times that I blew people's minds at this tarot or at this event that I was at last Friday, it was bonkers. People were just like, oh my God. Like, I loved blowing people's minds. And I don't know these people. These are all 60 different strangers. Never met one of these people in my life. And it was wild, honestly. But it definitely, it kind of made me feel super validated about my tarot work,
Right.
to be honest, because I always feel like I'm just making shit up. but then, you know, you have almost 60 people who all had the reaction of, holy shit, that makes a lot of sense right now. And
that's what I do like about I do like about the Treo versus like, you know, your astronomy type readings, right? Like the Treo is kind of you have that almost random. I mean, you're mixing the cards up. You almost have like there's this is kind of a random thing, right? You're not looking at something that, oh well, someone says you're a Leo, so you're doing this, even though that could be a Leo, that could be a Cancer, that could be a blah blah blah. You know, those characteristics could be over 3 different astrological signs.
Yeah.
Whereas the Treo, it's more. I just saw you mix the cards up, so I know that they're not stacked in any way or shape. You know what I mean? But now you're flipping this card, you're flipping this card, flipping this card, and it's like, oh, wow, well, okay, that's crazy. Yeah.
That was literally the reaction I was getting from people, and it never occurred to me. You know, it wasn't exclusively people who were graduating from college, but there was a lot of them that were graduating from college, and so I kept pulling the death card over. And some of them would be like, oh no.
Oh,
like, no,
that's not good.
Okay, it's just a transition.
It's just a transition card. That's all it is.
It's just a transition card. And I kept pulling it over and over again. And then I was like, oh yeah, all these people are graduating. These are big transition periods for them. So I kept picking these really big, heavy cards that some of them are inherently a little negative, but it's because
they're perceived. They're perceived as negative, right? They're like,
exactly.
Yeah. So
the perception is negative because, wow, I'm ending school. Do I move out of my parents' house? Do I need to get a job? Do I,
right?
All these things, you know, and
how am I going to pay this student loan that I just got of $100,000?
Right, exactly. So that was really, really interesting. It definitely validated how I feel, like even just my own self-esteem about tarot. But I just remembered, like, before we get too far off the paranormal stuff, which tarot is related, so I can feel it's not too far.
Yeah.
I have never seen anything with my own naked eyes until like a week ago. And it freaked me the hell out because I could not debunk it. I will say I've felt feelings in a room. I will say that I've sensed presences in a room before, but never have I ever seen something with my own eyes. And for the first time I did, and I think it was last Thursday. No, wait. Oh yeah, maybe last Thursday, a couple weeks ago. And I do vocal coaching, like I mentioned, and I have a couple IRL students, and I sit in the room at the studio, and there's a big window to another part of the studio. It's just like being in basically a fishbowl. It's almost the whole wall is a window, and my student was sitting facing me, but I could see out the window. He could not see out the window into this other room. And so I see somebody walk into the room, like the way, like, you can't see the person, but like, you know, like somebody might have like a lighter color shirt on,
right?
But they're in the dark, but you can see the shirt.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw. So I'm like, oh, somebody walked in, and then I saw somebody walk out. And my lesson continues forward. And then one of my bandmates pops in to ask me a question. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, hey, wait, did you just go in and out the other room? And he's like, no, why? And I'm like, is there anybody else here? He's like, well, yeah, just Kevin. And Kevin, I just saw Kevin. He did not have anything black on or light. It was all black. And so did this bandmate, Phil. He also just was wearing all dark colors. And I'm like, is there anybody in this building who's wearing a light color? Like anybody? He's like, I don't know. Are you okay? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not.
It's yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw, it just looked like somebody walking in to grab like a music stand or like a snare stand or something. Like, you know, you just walk in to grab the thing and you walk back out.
Right.
Sometimes you don't need the light on to do that because you can see well enough with the hallway lit.
Right.
I've done it myself.
But you can detect motion. You know what I mean? Like you don't need light to really detect motion. You can detect motion either by hearing or whatever else, right? That glimpse in your.
It freaked me out. And Alex is the student I was with at the time, who's also happens to be my cousin. He also kind of believes in paranormal stuff, and we talk about that regularly. And when I said that, he's like, "You're joking." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to scare you. I don't like it either." And I kept getting chills the whole rest of the time we were sitting in the room because, like, I couldn't. It happened near the beginning of the hour session, so I just kept coming back to it over and over again. Like, I know what I saw.
Yeah.
There was not a person
That was
in
not
the
a
building
yeah.
who was in that place at that time.
Yeah.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
That is hopefully the first and last time I ever saw it. Because it really freaked me out, and I told everybody about it, and everybody was like, all right. I'm like, no, none of you believe this.
Right.
They believe me, but I don't think they believe it.
Well, like, in my background, like I said, my grandfather, he's a, I think I've told you a few times, he's a scientist. He's done, you know, I mean, like he's full on scientist. He doesn't believe in the afterlife. He doesn't believe in any of that stuff. He doesn't believe in anything. Just where you're here, be with the ones you love, and that's that's your time here. So we've kind of grown up with that, you know, the science side of things. Plus, you know, like I had mentioned before, my mom was very much like they went way far away from where my grandfather was. He's the conservative, controlling person. They were like, we're out of here, but we're going this way other direction here. But the house that we used to live in when we were kids, so it had a staircase that kind of went up one flight and then, you know, had a landing and then another flight up and then there was a landing up at the top. Older house, 1930s, I think, something like that. But we would constantly hear voices through that hall, through the stairs. Nobody around. And they are indoor stairs. They're not like outdoor stairs. They're indoor stairs. And, you know, as kids, we're freaked out, right? We're like, you know, we constantly hear it. And of course, my grandfather, my stepdad at the time was like, no, it's just, you know, it's the acoustics through that stairwell. And like, I had dreams all the time that there was something on that stairwell. Like you would have to, it would be a race from the top to the bottom. And they'd be like, stop running down the stairs. And we're like, I don't want, no, I want to get down the stairs as fast as possible. But yeah. And then, same house, 70s, right? So, the living room and dining room, well, I would say, living room, like had a fireplace and all kinds of good stuff. But then there was a big entranceway to the dining room. And being the 70s, my parents hung beads up instead of like a curtain, right? Put beads up.
I love that. So 70s.
No.
I hated it.
No, I hated it. Well, because as your kid, Joe, you're running through those things.
Yeah.
If you're the second one through, you're getting smacked by it.
That's fair.
But we were downstairs one day in the living room, just kind of watching TV or listening to music, and the beads parted like this.
No, ma'am.
Yes. No. And here we're boys, right? We're not like, you know, we're rough and tough boys. We're not, you know, not scared of too much. Pick up snakes, pick up spiders, whatever. Doesn't matter. That freaked us out. We were like, what? And my stepdad was like, it's the wind. I was like, the wind doesn't do this. The wind would do this. And where's the wind come from? Right? Where are we getting wind from?
How does that? Yeah, it wouldn't be a curtain split.
Yeah. Well, the dining room had windows all along it. And we had a big dining room set. But no wind, you know, I mean, there's no wind coming through there. And it was an older home, so it was drafty, but not
Not like that.
Not a gust of wind coming through the house.
Our house was actually, my parents still live in the house that I had experiences in. I actually had a lot of sleep paralysis when I was little, and I didn't know it until I started to learn about what sleep paralysis was as an adult. And I was like, oh my God, this happened to me, and it all came flooding back. And people did die in that house, but not like in a terrible, tragic nature or anything like,
Right.
cancer. So it wasn't like tragic, like murders in the house or something. But we always used to joke that Joe was in the house. And if a door would slam, we just
It was
know
Joe.
It was Joe. If it smells like cigar smoke, because he was a heavy smoker, it's Joe. Just anything that happened in the house, blame it on Joe. But I woke up a lot in that house, feeling like there was something in the room, something was standing in the doorway, watching me, or something was standing behind my door, watching me if the door was open. Yeah, I could never shake that. And it only ever happened in my room. I could go to sleep in any other part of the room, or I'm sorry, any other part of the house, and that wouldn't happen. And it stopped happening also when I left the house to go to college.
Oh, okay. So this was maybe some energy following you or something, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just that one room, and that's not even the room that this person passed away in. So I don't even think it's that person per se. But yeah, it was real creepy. And they still live in that house. I keep telling them, like, y'all got to sell this house. I don't want this house.
Yeah, you guys pass. This house is gone, just so you know. This ain't staying.
Yeah, I told them, like, listen, I'm not going to be in a position to sell the house. I'm going to need the house if you guys don't get rid of the house.
Yeah.
So if you need to get rid of the house, so
get a new house so that I can get the new house.
Yes, I don't want to own this house.
Yes. Yeah.
I would like to not own this house at some point in my life.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Then I'd be pressured to live there. Like, oh, you've inherited a house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You feel that pressure to live there simply because you've now inherited a house that's paid off. So I just brought it up to them like last week again. And I was like, you guys going to move? Because I can't. Don't move too far away. I like where they live. They live like 5 minutes from me.
Yeah.
I don't like the house. I don't want that house.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I have kind of the same situation going on with my mom and my dad. Yeah, my dad he's got a house in California, around Hermosa Beach that I'm sure his neighbors are ready for him to move out.
It's a great area though. Hermosa's beautiful.
It is. It's a really great area. The plot is probably the size of your condo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But 1 point something mil for just the lot.
Right.
But it's like I won't say it's one of the oldest buildings there, but it's got a part of it that is one of the oldest foundations still left in the area. Which is kind of funny because as you're looking outside his house and all around him is all new houses. They're made out of plywood and plaster, and they all have cracks all along the foundation, all along the walls. His house, no cracks. Why? Because it's made with cement and wire mesh, apparently, and a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, he's like, you're going to get all this when I die. And I'm like, I really don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's have you ever seen the show Sanford and Son?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Sanford and Son situation.
Okay.
Where he's like, hey, that's some good wood that somebody just threw out the window. I'm gonna grab that. And you're like, why are you grabbing that? That doesn't do you any good whatsoever. It's got nails all through it. Well, we can take those nails out and we can reuse those. I'm like, no.
Not everything needs to be thrifted.
No, not everything. But he does it with furniture too. So as Californians are leaving California due to the high prices and high taxes, he's going out and grabbing in more furniture into his house. And I'm like, you already have to move furniture to walk it through an area and then move it back to sit down. It's like, no. Anyways, but yeah, I get where you just want it handled and not have to deal with
Yes.
Especially if you think there's something in there.
They
A
don't.
negative energy in that house. That's
Yeah.
and my mom's in real estate, so that's one of the things that they're always like, can't really tell you that it is, can't really tell you that it isn't, but I mean, you're looking at it. Does it look like Norman Bates' house? Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
it
not
does.
That's
Yeah.
a good choice.
Yeah, it's probably not. There's probably something in there.
Yeah. And I've never had like a bad feeling here or anything either, even though people have passed very close in proximity to our place.
Yeah.
I've definitely had weird things happen here, and we joke about our cat Guster, who passed away in 2019. We have a ghost cat.
You think the cat? You think Guster's hanging out?
100%, because we will think a cat jumped up on the bed, and we'll be like, "Oh, Sean, come here." There's no cat on the bed. Like, there's no cat on the bed, but we've both physically felt a cat jump
Up on the bed.
So we think we have a ghost cat. So I guess we're never leaving, unless he's just gonna follow along. But yeah, I had like the creepiest. This is probably the scariest thing that ever happened, and I saved this for a whole hour in, so that way people have to listen now.
Okay.
I didn't mean.
We'll throw that in the intro too, so that they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, I gotta stay."
Yeah, scariest. This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, and it was when Trish and I took a trip down to NOLA, New Orleans, in 2019, January of 2019, and we were staying in a historical area. I mean, it's hard not to stay in a historical area if you're going to be in New Orleans.
Right. It's a pretty much all.
It's all
Yeah.
pretty much historical unless you're going to stay in a hotel. And we didn't. I chose to stay in an Airbnb on purpose. I was like, if we're going to go to New Orleans, we're not going to stay in a hotel unless it's like a historical hotel.
Right.
But we stayed in an Airbnb, and it was like a duplex, and there was construction work and stuff. But it was a really lovely Airbnb, and it was lovely, absolutely gorgeous little area with a full kitchen, full living room, full bedroom, closet space. It was really lovely. And so the very last night we were there, I think we were there for 5 or 6 nights. The very last night we were there, we both woke up, like, picture dropping like a ping pong ball from like eye level, and you hear it go dink, 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 dink. Like, you know how like you
Right.
drop something like that. That's what we heard in the middle of the night. Trish heard it, and she wakes up and she says, "Did you hear that?" And like, I wasn't awake, but I totally heard it. Like, I was like, "Yeah, what was that?" And so we both immediately were like, "Oh, that's weird." So we turned a light on. Like, did something fall? Like, we couldn't find anything that fell. And then we both get back in bed, turn off the light, and we start hearing this scraping sound coming from the ceiling. Like, these are like cinder block walls.
Yeah.
They're not like plaster. They're very clearly cinder block walls. And above us is somebody's house, but the whole back half of the bottom level it was all under construction. So there was nothing on the other side of the cement wall except construction, put it that way.
Right.
And we kept hearing like this scratching. It sounded like rats were trying to dig, but it was at the top of the wall. And it wouldn't stop. And it was making me physically ill. Like, there's no reason for a sound to make me physically ill.
Right.
Like, okay, so something's scratching on the other side of the wall, but we couldn't figure it out, and it was making me physically ill. And I've never experienced something like that before in my life.
Yeah, I think there is though. I think there is a primal like reaction, right? That when you confirm that you're in danger, right? That's that realization, right? Coming from a bunch of soldiers and stuff, we process it a little different in that, okay, now's the time to start joking, right? Now's this time to start making jokes because, to alleviate this situation, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like, I know what you mean. There's been times where we were like, we're in danger. We're in danger now. This is it.
Yeah.
This is something weird, right? And then even as a kid, like the one back to the movies, the one movie that I still can't watch this day is The Exorcist. I just cannot, even though it's like, just not, I mean, it's not that scary, truthfully,
It's not.
but it just like triggers that thing, you know what I mean? That, not, like I said, as a kid, we heard it all the time. You know what I mean? We'd hear it in the hallways. We'd hear voices in the hallways, and we knew they weren't our parents, right? We knew our parents were sleeping or whatever else. So, but I think it is a part of a fear reflex, survival instinct that kicks in. It's like, no, this is bad. I need to get out of here now.
Actually, yeah, like the New Orleans place, like when you can then figure out that like nothing is on the other side of the wall. There couldn't have been anything on the other side of the wall, and it sounded like it was inside the room. It didn't sound like the other side of the cinder block. It sounded like the top, where like the wall and the ceiling connects. Like I'm getting chills just even talking about it, and it got so bad for us that like we just huddled on the couch and got out of that room, and this was like sunrise. We couldn't leave for a couple of hours. Like it could have been even the middle of the night. And our flight out was in the morning. I'm like, thank goodness this happened on the last night, because I don't know that we would have stayed here.
Right.
Like, I don't know what we would have done. We already spent the money on this Airbnb.
Right.
But it was terrifying. And like, I've heard other noises in this house. I've heard noises that you can't explain a lot of places, but none of them have made me feel like that.
Right.
And that's the difference. Like, none of them have triggered that gut instinct like that before, and that scared the absolute shit out of me. So my best ghost story is from New Orleans. And
New Orleans, that's good. No, that's a good one. That's good. So how are you with the fake haunted houses? How are you with the jump factor?
That's a good question, actually. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that.
I go into total, like, people get pissed off because I go into total soldier mode when I'm in like a real like shithole setting, almost is what I'll call it. Because a lot of a lot of our breach training and all that kind of stuff was done on dilapidated buildings. We didn't, you don't get a nice building, they
Right.
kick the door in. So,
Right, that's true.
so that kind of turns that part of my brain on to, okay, we're locked and load. We'll kick the door. We'll blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, we'll go in, make sure you get your pie right. You don't get in the way of fire, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So people that I usually go with to haunted houses are very much like, you are no fun to go to a haunted house with at all.
I see the scare coming a mile away.
Yeah, I mean, or I'll speed ahead so that person that's hanging over the door to jump scare somebody, I'm like, they're coming, get them. They're coming through. They're going to be through in like 2 seconds. Get them.
It seems like I don't really have any strong feelings about haunted houses, honestly. Trish will not do them.
Oh, really?
I have not done any of them since I've been with her. I honestly don't even remember the last time I went into a haunted house. And I don't really have any feelings about them. I haven't done any, but not really on purpose.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to do we have a very, very popular apple orchard here named Blaze.
Like the mazes and apple orchard. Yeah.
And I went with my nephew for his birthday last October. And none of the adults wanted to go into the haunted house with him and his cousin. And so I was like, I will go in with you. I can't protect you. I'm not very big. Like, 10 years old. Like, they're almost as big as me now.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't protect you, but
Yeah.
like, I'll go in with you because you need an adult. Like, physically, you're not allowed to go.
Right. You're not.
alone.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I'll do it. But his stepdad was like, oh, I don't, should I do it? I'm like, dude, yeah, like if you want to. He's like, I don't really want to. And I'm like, dude, I got you. Like, it's fine. I'll be the cool auntie who goes in.
Yeah.
But he's like, nope, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when you get the get out, it's time to get out. You get that, and it's like, I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. You know what I mean? Like it,
Yeah.
but that's in the real haunted house. Like I said, we have quite a few here in Indiana. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we have Noctropolis here. which is really good. It is really good. I think they've got a haunted house part of it, which is an old factory, and then they have they also do paintball in the same factory. So the paintball is fun for me. I guess I'm like,
Yeah, there's like zombie paintball here.
Yeah.
Shoot the zombies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, I know there is one that has that is notorious for touching people. Like,
Oh.
yeah. So I won't go to that one because I'm like,
Yeah.
you touching me, I touch you back. You know what I mean? Like
Punch you in the yeah. Oh, it actually does. I know exactly the last time I went into a haunted house. It was in 2011
yeah.
or 12. I went to Universal Studios,
Oh, okay.
and it was the year of Walking Dead.
Oh, so tons of Walking
Amazing.
Dead, I'm sure.
It was crazy. Crazy Walking Dead stuff. I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2012, but yeah, that's the last time. They couldn't touch you there, but man, did they push the limit of how close
They could get to you.
get to you. And those prosthetics that they used look really good.
Yeah.
Like, really good. And so I was a little freaked out. And then they take you up to where the original Bates Motel, speaking
Yeah.
of full circle again, they take you to the set of that, and you're on a trolley. And you think you're safe because you're on a trolley and you're just going to go through, and there's zombies everywhere. And then they park the trolley and say, okay, get out. And we're like, I'm sorry? They're like, get out, get off the trolley. And so you're forced to walk around with the zombies.
Nice.
Set area.
I think I like that.
It's cool.
My brother and his ex-wife, they've gone to Universal. They usually go to Universal around October. It's just I've always, that's a busy time for me in my job. So it's like, I'd really like to go. We did get to go. So every year, I would say up to 2019, Microsoft puts on what's called Ignite. And that is it's a huge conference for Microsoft to, tell everybody what the products are going to be like for the year, what the roadmap is, all that kind of good junk. We got to go to Universal in the 2019 one. And that was awesome. But that's the last time I've been there. That's about the last time I've been to, and of course it wasn't in October. It's like September or something like that is when it was. But
I definitely recommend going for horror nights.
Yeah.
As horror people, I think that it's definitely something. If you're in California in October, I think it's so worth it to go, because they do a different horror theme every year. I happened to be there at the height of Walking Dead popularity.
All right. So zombies all over.
Yeah, like one year it was like House of a Thousand Corpses. Like there was a Rob Zombie thing. Like I'm like, damn, what I would give to go to the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
But it's definitely must do at some point for horror fans.
So are you a Walking Dead fan, or are you just is that not your gig? You're more of the
I'm
slasher.
not a Walking Dead fan. I actually walked.
You walked The Walking Dead?
I walked it. I watched it through 2017, and then honestly, life just got too fucking crazy. I stopped watching.
Like, why am I watching this? I can just live here and like do this now. So
life just got too bonkers, and I kind of stopped watching TV for a couple years entirely. So I was just not. I'm not caught up on it. I've never finished it or anything like that. But
there's all these offshoots now. Like they just go.
There's Beyond. There's Fear.
The Survivors or something of The Walking Dead and Daryl Dixon Walking Dead and it's like I'm never gonna be able to follow that. Never. And I did like I said, I'm a comic book guy, so I did look have I think I still have it the original comics of The Walking Dead, and it varies so far from what the comics are. In the comics, Rick is the one that loses his hand. Carl doesn't die.
I heard that.
A whole bunch of other stuff that the series went off on its own thing.
And then it randomly did, and correct me if I'm wrong, it randomly was like when they met Negan, it was actually Glenn who dies in both, right? Or is it somebody else who dies?
I'm trying to think who Negan killed. I can't remember if he killed. I know he killed Glenn. I don't think that the other guy was ever a character, though. The redhead guy. I don't think he was a character.
Oh, yeah. I've met him. He's super cool.
Really? But it went way far from that. And then now it's Rick and Michonne are reunited in another thing. It's just like, well, he was gone for like
years.
Yeah, 15, 20 years, or 15 years, I feel like, or at least 11 years for the kid to grow up. So, right. And I was like, you didn't get away. You didn't have any chance to get away in all those years to reach back to your family and whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I liked Walking Dead, though, honestly. And I think that, that and American Horror Story for me were big deal when they started, because they started right around the same time on television, and there just wasn't much horror television at the time.
Yeah.
And now there's quite a lot of sci-fi and horror that I'm really, really digging. And so I'm grateful for Walking Dead because I feel like it put horror television back on.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you're a big American Horror Story fan too. I didn't really get into that one too much. I got more into. I'm more of a werewolf kind of person than
I love werewolves too.
Ghost or, like what's the one? The one that for me is the. Trying to remember now the name of the movie. It's with the vampires and the werewolves. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Van Helsing?
No.
No. That was close, though.
Close.
It is vampires and werewolves.
That is a vampire and a werewolf, yes. Man, I can't. The name is slipping. It's with old age, though. You get that.
Listen, my brain's been slipping for ages. So.
Right.
I'm a fan of all horror, kind of. I have like favorites. Like ghosts are probably my favorite. Found footage is my favorite. Like in terms of filmmaking, I adore found footage and mockumentaries. I would say my least favorite are zombies. But I like them though. Like there's, you know what I mean?
I just have a thing where it's like it'd be too easy. It'd be too easy. I've got an arsenal in my home. It'd be too easy. It'd be too easy.
I wouldn't make it very well. I would just be like, it's fine.
Well, and then I think I've seen different studies on it, and wild animals would have torn those things apart. You know what I mean? Like they would have.
True.
You know what I mean? Something slow moving, smells fairly edible, I guess. They would have torn them. Yeah. They would tear something like that apart. Now the 28 Days zombies, that's a different story. Those are highly animated, zombies or whatever. And truthfully, I don't even think they're zombies at that point. I think they're just, a rabies type thing.
Yeah, and that's how I Am Legend is as well. It's more,
yeah, it's more of a
that was connected to
going back to the Omega Man though. They were intelligent. They were they spoke. They were all kind of a vampire people, right? But I did like the twist that they did for I Am Legend. And then they keep talking about like a sequel to that, and I'm like,
oh really?
That's kind of ended definitively.
It really did.
I mean, when you take the grenade and you pull the pin and then you let go, that's it. It's kind of the end.
Definitive.
Yeah, that's kind of the end.
Sequel in the universe, maybe, but
no, we're talking Will Smith. We're talking somehow he survives.
I mean, maybe it's a well, I don't know.
I like I said, I think it's more of a, hey, how can we draw some more money out of this? How can we get some more out of this? Of course.
That's always what the sequels are.
Hellraiser what? Hellraiser what?
Oh my God, the amount of Hellraiser. 2 of them are garbage. I actually like all the rest of them.
Yeah.
2 of them are hot garbage, but they're just real bad. Like, I don't even know I think one of them is Revelations and one of them is Judgment.
Possibly. Like I said,
are really, really bad.
I got to the point where I'm just like, no, I'm good. I
like a lot of them though, actually.
Too much. Too much.
I didn't get into Hellraiser till a couple years ago, but Trish is obsessed. Of all things, she loves Pinhead. So we got into them, but I like a lot of the sequels, surprisingly, and the newer one on Hulu too that came out maybe last year before. That was really good. So I'm glad that they breathed some new life into it. Again, it was like it wasn't even like a sequel. It was more like just a reboot in the same universe. So
Right.
I guess that's the moral of today's podcast. I like reboots, and
There's going to be a reboot, and Erin's going to be watching it and do a review.
I love me some reboots. That's the moral of the story.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll do a time check. Are you good?
I would say
how are you feeling?
I'm starting to struggle a little
Starting to struggle a little bit. Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll wrap up. Yeah, definitely. Let's try to think of one thing I was going to suggest maybe we do is next time we do a top 10, we'll do a comparison top 10 of our horror movies.
Yes.
If there's some stuff that I've seen that you haven't seen, if some stuff you haven't seen that I haven't seen, then
That's a great idea.
we'll do some homework.
I would love that.
And then and then next time I'll bring up I'm going to take pictures of the book.
Yeah.
I'll bring that up. I don't know if that will then possess the internet or not, but I'll bring up some of those pictures. I'll share some of those pictures. We can talk about that. And then probably some more music stuff too. I kind of want to tempt you with the AI stuff more. Sell your soul to AI. Just because I think it's going to be the next kickoff. I think that's going to be the next, like, you know what I mean? Like T-Pain and auto tune. That was, that everybody took that style way too far. You know what I mean? But I think that's where AI is going to come in next is there's going to be like this. I think there's going to be this big explosion of AI music. And I think it's going to take over a lot of stuff. But
I think you're absolutely right. I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a great talking to you, Erin. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for having me. It was a lovely time.
Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. Okay. All right. Well, get some rest because I know you're probably extremely tired at this point.
I was tired before, but honestly, talking to you kind of gave me some spoons back.
Oh, there you go. Cool. It's my energy. It's just my energy. That's all it is. It is.
It is 100%.
But yeah, we'll get together. Like I said, that's the plan for next time we do it. Like I said, I'm going to do that podcast for the eclipse party is what I'll call it.
Oh yeah.
Cause I kind of got invited, but I'm like, dude, I'm not forking over $30 so that I can bring my stuff so people can jam on, you know, because I'm going to bring my Rodecaster. I'm going to bring some other stuff so that there's going to be some musicians there apparently, but like you ain't touching my guitar. So
yeah, you're not touching that.
And then I got a question real quick. Sanitation for mics. How do you guys do it?
So if you take are you just using regular SM58s?
It's not even SM58s.
They're similar.
These came with the Rodecaster. This one came with the Rodecaster. It does take phantom power from the Rodecaster though.
Oh, interesting.
And it takes phantom power from the RC505. This one over here is the Samsung. I can't remember what model that one is, but it's USB and XLR. So I'm bringing 2 of these and 1 of these. And then I have a Line 6 amplifier, which is a 120, which is super loud. And then I don't know if you can see them, but I've got 2 powered monitors that I'm bringing, and it's a house. You know what I mean? It will be more than loud enough for that area. But do I invest in some screens, some pop screens, maybe?
You can. That is one easy way, honestly. Because the other option is, you can take off the caps. They screw right off.
Yeah.
And there's basically a really thin piece of foam underneath it. And basically, I just sanitize those 2 pieces and then put it back on after they've dried. And you can do that with anything. You can use Clorox wipes. You can use rubbing alcohol. Anything that's going to kill germs. But you're absolutely right. The easier way to do that is actual pop filters.
Okay.
Like the one that you have.
Yeah, because I was thinking I can pick up like these are like $10 or something like that. I can grab a couple of those. I might get this one's a cloth mesh. I might get like a metal mesh one or something, so it's easier to
'cause that'd be
clean.
easier to clean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then that would be the best case scenario, honestly.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to be taking off the things and wiping
Trying
them
to.
out. Yeah, I would do that after you get home. That's what I did after I did karaoke for my niece. That's what I did. I took them all the caps
Just
off.
kind of.
Yeah, and just washed them all off. And then the foam piece, it's foam. You have to let it dry. So
Right.
don't put it back in the mechanism beforehand. But most of them have foam under that capsule.
Oh.
Some of them might not. Year two, they might not, but most of them do it.
Yeah, I think this one does. Yeah, I don't know that this one screws off, but I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I might do masks too, though. I might make them wear masks if they're gonna.
Yeah, if you're gonna use your equipment,
Yeah.
And I feel like witchy people who legitimately are giving their life to stuff like this
Yeah.
understand better, way better.
I don't know what this crowd is. I'm very. I mean, this is almost Illuminati, not witch, not Wiccan, not worshiping, not any of that kind of stuff. This is more kind of like I posted the itinerary, and it's a lot of trails. So I'm like, yeah, I quit the Army because I didn't want to do trails anymore.
Oh wow!
But yeah, I mean, there's a couple 5 miles in there. There's a 1.5 mile. There's so he's planning on some hiking going down in Bloomington area, which is the Hoosier National Forest down there. But yeah, I'm not staying till I have to work on Monday. There's no, there's no, hey, you can take off work on Monday because it's an eclipse.
Right.
But I'm going to be working that Monday, so I'm not going to be doing I might stay the night Saturday and stay Sunday and do some interviews there because there's some people like business owners and I know there's going to be some real estate owner or real estate people there. And there's another dude that does a podcast that wants to hook up. So I'll look at that. But yeah, if I'm coming in with my equipment, the other thing I did say was, if you got a mic, bring a mic because I'm
Right.
not. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Well, stop recording here because I just got a thing.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.